Okay?
Yeah.
All right. Because it's the holiday season and because of my new food practices in the monastic tradition, I thought, and because it's the holidays and there's food everywhere we look, I thought I'd talk about the history of Buddhist teachings and practices about food. Everyone thinks that Buddhists are vegetarians, and the truth is that some Buddhists are, but many, many more are not. If I think back to the sanghas I belong to, I would say that in every one of them, 80% of the people ate meat and fish in some quantities. Some people, well, I should say first that the easiest way to get Buddhists to violate right speech is to say something like, I've said before, the Buddha did not teach vegetarianism, which he did not. And that will upset. You will get hate mail from Buddhists if you say that. And I have. So I've gone back to look at the Pali Canon, the earliest scriptures we have. And this is what I've found. So this is kind of the bottom line. The Buddha was very concerned with food as one of the many elements of sensual desire. So his big thing about food was never eat this, that's impure, this is not. His big thing was moderation in eating. It's over and over mentioned in the Pali Canon, moderation in eating. Now, when you get to the monks and the nuns, we have more proscriptions, more precepts to keep about food. For instance, in the tradition I'm in now, the Vietnamese tradition, which is syncretic, that means there's some Theravadan elements and some Mahayana elements and some Pure Land stuff in our tradition. But we keep to not eating solid foods after midday. And midday is defined, people asked me about this at the ordination, because the ordinations was supposed to, I think it was supposed to start at 10, and then lunch was at 12. But of course lunch went on, and the ordination took more time, and so it was well into the afternoon. So in our tradition, midday is considered around 2 in the afternoon. So the monks can eat anytime between roughly noon and 2. So there's a lot more flexibility there. In the evenings, we're only supposed to have juice or medicines, or old monks, which I qualify for, can have like chicken broth in the evening. But still the rule is it's gotta melt in your mouth. So that's why I can have chocolate in the evening. Now, so many monks have different, I have a friend who's a monk in Washington, and he feels that the cheese puffs melt in your mouth, and so whenever I visit him, I smuggle in some cheese puffs, and he must not feel totally well about it, good about it, because he doesn't want the other monks to see. Maybe he just doesn't want to share. But so back to the Buddha. Basic moderation. So it's just viewed as an element of the human senses and of desire. Now, the other rule he had, that's our 5-minute bell, so I'm going to be quiet a second, see how we're doing. The other rule for the monks and the nuns was that they eat whatever was put in their begging bowl. So monks and nuns are not supposed to pick and choose. Oh, I like this, I'll have a piece of this. Or, I'm supposed to eat everything that's in there. Any of you who've been in Asian countries, in Bangkok, for instance, when I would be there, I always went out early in the morning because that's when it's tolerable to be out and about. And you would see the monks just gliding kind of along with their begging bowls, barefoot, and the lay people lining up along the sides of the roads and they would put in whatever they had. But we start to see, as the Vinaya or the Vinaya develops, that is the rules for monks and nuns, you can see by what rules had to be made that there's lots of disputes about food. As in any dysfunctional family, so here's the food fight stuff, okay? In those days, many times, wealthy lay people or families that wanted a house blessed or something, they would invite the whole vihara. The vihara is the monastery, or really that's a bad translation, that's a very westernized translation. Vihara just means shelter, abode. As in the Brahma viharas, the abodes of the godly abodes. So you see rules being made about if the monastery, if the vihara is invited to a meal by a layperson, there seem to have been many disputes about who gets to go. So there's rules about who determines that, and so on and so forth. There's another primary rule for monks and nuns, which is that no animal, no breathing animal, can be slaughtered specifically for a monk or a nun. If there's already meat around and the lay people go to the butcher and just get some to take care of the monks that are visiting, that's fine. But you don't go out and buy a goat and say, we're going to slaughter this for the nuns. Because what's going on at this time in history, remember, is the whole reaction, Karen Armstrong has talked about this, the whole reaction against the bloody sacrifices. This revolution's going on in Judaism as well as many other religions. It's just gross what the temple in Jerusalem looked like during High Holy Days. So same thing with the Brahmins. If you want a Brahmin, the Vedic